If you don't mind me asking, right? Because I know you and Big Jake was real cool, but I want to ask you, the day he got killed, can you give me the backstory behind that?
I don't mind at all. By the way, shouts out to Big Jake. One of my sons is named after Jake. But well, at the end of the day, it was like this. Jermaine Dupri was having a birthday party, so we was going to the party. So it was me, Jake, and the main security guy was over the security guys was coming with us. And they was late at the airport. They missed their flight. So me and Jake's okay, cool. When we get there, we land. Jake was like, man, they've always been bringing his burner and a burner for me. Say, well, missed his flight. So he missed his flight. We go to Atlanta. We hung out the mall a little bit, did some shopping, and we go to the party. We had a good time. I think we pretty much did what we wanted to do and had some fun. When we left the party, anytime I go to Atlanta or anywhere else, we're gonna have a limo, a driver on the clock 24/7 in case we need to go somewhere. So when we left the party, they had an after party at a club. We went to the party at the club. You know, I'm with a bitch dancing, doing what I'm doing, but I still got my eye on Jake, and I'm quite sure he still got his eye on me. That's what you do when you out there. So I could see by Jake's body language, he was having some words with somebody. And I know Jake gonna get down where he mad at, or take it to a place where they can get down and ain't nobody can break it up. So I get over there. It's Jake. There's another dude I know named Wolf. So the bartender supposed to be Wolf's bitch, but she was hollering at Jake, trying to slide her number to him. So they arguing about a bitch, basically some dick and pussy bullshit. So Jake tell him, look, we don't got to be doing all this. We can take you to that restroom right over there. We can get out. If you win, I'll shake your hand. But you ain't gonna win. When I whoop your ass, you can shake my hand. We don't gotta be doing all this talking. So as they were discussing taking to the restroom to handle their business, shit, my money on Jake. Jake can handle his business. And I don't think Wolf will be scared to go in the restroom with Jake and find out. Somebody else sent a real police officer over there in a real uniform, real gun on his hip. Atlanta cop. He goes straight to Jake. He's about to touch you. I said, no, you ain't touching the homie. What's up? He said, well, I got to throw him out. I said, for what? They said they want him out the club. So he ain't going nowhere. If he go, I go. What's up? So they escorting Jake out. So I'm pushing with him. I'm going to go right with him. As we get out there, Jake still want to handle his business. Now Jake was at a 3 at first. He felt he going to whoop somebody's ass that's done with. But since they targeted him and threw him out, now he at a 10. Now he ready to get this fade out the way. Squabble up time. So the guy Jake was getting into it with, and dancing motherfucker, they running down the street. They ain't trying to mix it up. They literally going down the street. The police is on us, telling us, by that time the limo pulling up, that's your car, y'all gotta go. I ain't gonna get to saying names because certain names ain't good to say. One of those individuals handed another individual a burner. The police see him hand it to him. We see him hand it to him. So the fool they handed the burner to came pulling up and started busting. Bust on Jake. Me and Jake right by each other. He falls. The other fool get on. The police was starting to run behind him at first. What was said and what was done to Puffy, he know and I know what was done. I get in the limo. When the ambulance come, Jake was saying he was straight, but he couldn't feel his legs. We get to the hospital. Somebody from the back boy camp came up there to say everything can be squashed and blah, blah, blah. I don't got to brag about it. I don't got to lie about it. That dude know what happened. I know what happened. He know what I did, and I know what I did to him. After that, police came to get me. To get me for what? I'm under arrest? No, you got to come to the station. I ain't going nowhere. They say you don't have no choice. You got to ride with us. I get in my limo. They take me to the station. When I get to the station, I hear a real Atlanta police who threw Jake out the club telling the detective how this person handed this person the gun, how this person shot Jake, how he started to chase him, then he stopped, but he know what happened. I'm listening to the whole spiel. Detectives say, well, we ain't gonna do nothing about that. In other words, whatever you saying, that don't mean shit. So the police dude get up looking real disappointed. He looked at me with like shaking his head like he couldn't believe. He told them exactly what happened, and they saying, fuck it, leave it alone. Well, from one detective to a uniformed police. So when they wanted to talk to me, I said, I don't got shit to say. I don't got shit to talk about. If I ain't under arrest, let me go. I'm going back to the hospital. I get back to the hospital. I'm up there, it's me and Jake. The crazy thing about it, me and Jake was talking one day, and he was like, man, if you got paralyzed, what would you do? I said, I don't want to live if I was paralyzed. If I can't be a man to move around and walk and whoop some ass if I need to, or, have sex with 3 or 4 women, shit. If I can't be a whole man, I don't want to be here at all. That's just my opinion. So when they told Jake that he was paralyzed, Jake made a decision that he didn't want to be in this world like that. Jake was a big dude that worked out, was about that life. So I ended up staying out there. We was out there for a while before Jake passed away. Well, another security dude came out there and Jake brother came out there. When Jake brother went in there and hollered at Jake, he said Jake told him what he told him. His brother said, okay, who did this? What is behind it? What's up? And Jake told him. So from that point, everybody knew what was behind it, what was up. That's it, that's all. Now, we didn't sue them for wrongful death. We didn't sue the security company for failing. We didn't sue no motherfucking body. I sent Jake out the right way, paid for everything. When Christmas came around, I called Jake's mother and sent her a card and $50,000. Jake's life meant something, not just to me, to all the homies who love Jake. At the end of the day, we play by the rules. You got a lot of people playing both sides of the fence. But at the same time, if your name's Suge Knight, the authorities never gonna treat you fair. My whole case in this case wasn't treated fair. They had the person who told authorities under oath it was guns and said, I removed the gun from this man right here. This what type of gun it was. That's me in the video, putting it in my waistband, pulling my shirt down. You think someone's justified for that? No, because it's me. One of the things you cannot do is deny a person to go per. My second day in court, I fired both of my attorneys because I didn't want to go from Compton to CCB because of a DA named Larry Longo and the fact that they said I gave his, which I did, his daughter a record deal and all this money. That had a dark cloud on me. The alleged crime happened in Compton. I should be in Compton Courthouse. Since my attorneys weren't agreeing with me, I told the judge, you got to push my court date off to another day and give me time to hire attorneys. He said, you got two right there. I said, I paid for them. They fired. I said, I want to exercise my rights and go per. He said, no. For a person to be able to go per, they're supposed to give you a test. Do you know how to read and write? Have you been to high school? Are you crazy? They didn't do none of the above, but told me no. Remind you, both of these attorneys was fired in front of the media and the cameras. If it was the minute orders, if it was the transcripts, it showed they was fired. It shows me walking out, and it shows the camera saying, me saying in front of the cameras, you can't tell me what attorneys I want to keep. That's why I fired them, because I paid for them, so I fired them. Now I'm supposed to go to the next courtroom. They kidnapped me. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for no medical, no nothing. Two deputies in a squad car took me out that building and took me away. When they went to the next courtroom, in front of a judge named Judge Cohen, who they said is the worst judge in CCB, they agreed to move me from Compton to CCB and make the worst judge there, so they say, my all-purpose judge, my bail hearing, my prelim, my trial. The problem with that, one of the lawyers in the audience told the clerk, and they told everybody to the courts that these attorneys been fired. They don't represent Mr. Knight. Judge said, nobody told me, we telling you now. But they still allow them to do that. When you have a felony and it's a murder, the law says you got to be there and you have the right to have attorneys or attorney be appointed to you. But you can't do it. They can't do it without you. So they had two attorneys that was not my attorneys that made these decisions for me, which was illegal. The second thing in my case, I never had a public defender in my whole journey. I had a paid for attorney. The judge tell the attorney in front of me. So, it's on the transcripts. This woman, I feel, have been practicing long enough to represent you. The nice lady, the attorney says, I have a partner who's been practicing for 35 years. He said, I don't care. I'm taking you off the case. I'm putting a guy named Al on your case. He's a public pretender. And Mr. Knight, you cannot fire him. And this man even told me he only visited me twice, total of 10 minutes. And it was on vacation. When it's time for me to go to court, he said in front of the other attorneys and other witnesses, said, you gotta take a deal. I can't take you to trial. I don't know your case. And if I do take you to trial, you're going to lose. You're going to get 80 years to life. Even though I'm right by the law and have all the documents and exhibits to prove it, that's recently, basically because I'm Suge Knight, they want to deny it. But thank God for the appeal system. And I was sure win and show them I'm right. But the crazy thing about all this, what we don't understand of the racism in the system. You got two guys, the Menendez brothers, they can kill their mother and father for money. And they still entertaining them, even though they got a life without. And I survived a hit, and I'm in prison. And before that, I got shot 7 times, like maybe 90 days before that. You asked me something last time we had a conversation about this person said they shot me. Then another person said they shot me. These people can do songs, interviews, and guess what? Since it's me, they're going to get their ass a reward or a check. If it's anybody else, I wouldn't be here, and they probably had handcuffs on me. So when we talk about Jake situation, Tupac situation, the people who's involved in the situation, nothing's never gonna happen. Nor do I wish to see anyone in prison. Prison is one of the worst places you can be for any man, especially a black man. You know, I'm gonna say this. When our people were slaves, the slave masters beat the shit out of them. Whips, belts, they had anything to beat that slave, to teach that slave, you gonna mind me, you gonna fear me, you gonna do when I tell you to do something, when I say do it. The slaves later on, once they were free, beat their kids like the slave masters beat them. So it trickled all the way down. Still today, you got some people beat the shit out their kids. I might be a lion in the streets around my kids. I'm a pussycat. I never whipped none of my kids and never will. All my grandkids.
Real talk. But I want to go back to the Atlanta incident when, Big J got killed. They say that, Diddy Bodyguard Wolf, he's the one that killed Big Jake. Do you know anything about that? And do you put the blame on Diddy or no?
You know, it might sound crazy, but I look at life like this. Sometimes it's no coincidence. Sometimes we know the truth. Playing hardball is not a bad thing. Ain't no fun when a rabbit got the gun. So in other words, when something happened, playing father life basketball, no harm, no foul. And that should work both ways. That's just my opinion of it. And I don't want to, even though Puffy and I are not friends, but he's not my enemy. He's still a black man. He's still a man that have kids, maybe even grandkids, who knows. His mother's still living. And I say that because he deserved a fair chance in court. If I get to telling truthful things and factual things, it's a big possibility he will lose in court. And when it's all said and done, I don't want to end up like that. Because if Puffy got to go down. What about the executives and the white executives who participated also? And it's just not fair. I believe in fairness. So I choose not to comment on that situation because I want him to have a fair chance to prove his innocence. If I was that type of person, he'd have been in prison with no way out. If I was that type of person, the line then out here in these prisons, I'm one of the lions in this line then. It wouldn't end up well. But being a godly man, you got to also be a forgiving man. If God can forgive, who is Suge Knight to say that I don't have to because I'm bigger than God? And I'm definitely not.